I've come across so many videos and Twitter posts about the amount of labor women endure during Ramadan, and I have to say they all resonated with me. My initial reaction is usually, wow, so I'm not the only one. Knowing that this is kind of a universal experience is soothing in a way and lights the experience a little bit. But the reality for so many of us is that after we either write those posts, record those videos, or watch them, we usually have a mountain of work still waiting for us. Whether it's cooking a meal, cleaning the kitchen, folding the laundry, getting the kids ready for school, or whatever, there's always something that needs to get done, and it can feel very overstimulating in a month where the focus is supposed to be on prayer, reflection, and growth, for those of us observing Ramadan at least. The feeling of not getting the most out of the month always seems to creep back in. I find myself having pep talks to remind and convince myself that there's barakah in all the labor that I'm doing, that good deeds are being written for me every time I wash dishes or cook or take care of my family in any way while I'm fasting. That's honestly also a relief that it's not all done in vain, alhamdulillah, but that doesn't take away from the aches, the sleepiness, and sometimes the frustration that comes with still having those responsibilities. So what do we do about it? In this episode, I have two videos that I want to reference, addressing emotional and physical labor that we oftentimes take on as women, whether it's society inflicting it upon us and making us believe it's our duty, or just the nature of how our households are run. The first video is by a YouTube that I came across, and it honestly shifted my mindset about a lot of things. Her name is Rima, and her channel's name is Rima's Rules. I encourage you guys to check her out because she drops a lot of gems about self-improvement and navigating life from a big sister perspective, as she puts it. One thing I love about her page is she emphasizes that it's not a safe space, but instead a brave space. And a lot of these conversations take bravery to have, and I challenge every one of us to tap into that courageous part of our beings and ask questions. One important theme she highlights in a video about decentering men is boundaries. Specifically, she tells a story about her mom having moments where she almost turns off and retreats to doing something solely for herself, like reading a book, and how impressive she thought that was. She goes on to explain that she has always respected other people's boundaries, even if it was at her own expense. Now, I know boundaries is a buzzword at the moment in light of so many discussions around mental health, and I distinctly remember a session with my own therapist where she said, boundaries are not for other people, they're for you. It immediately shifted my perspective and took me from a place of wanting to assert myself and punish people for not treating me the way I wanted to be treated, to creating a cocoon where I could protect my well-being, my health, my sanity, etc. Rima's video goes on to talk about all the household work she took on and how she felt resentment towards her husband for not self-sacrificing to do the same. But most importantly, she talks about how her husband wasn't asking her to do any of these things. She took that on because she felt like she needed to, and she betrayed her own yet-to-be set boundaries. And peeling back that onion of resentment helped her realize she was overextending herself and pouring from an empty cup, and then getting upset at others for not doing the same or reaping the benefits. I have to say this fully resonated with me, and I think it ties back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the video about the labor we take on as women during Ramadan. We feel exhausted and we feel like it's not fair, and the answer is to blame others. In my opinion, the answer is to check our own boundaries and ask ourselves why we're allowing it to happen. And that's not to say we drop everything and refuse to do anything any longer. I don't think cooking is just for others. I mean, we like to eat too, and cleaning is something we do because we too enjoy a clean home. What I took away from this was how can we better organize so that we aren't exalted by the end? And how can we bring others along by asking for help when we need it, setting boundaries early on, and lightening the load on a longer term basis versus just lashing out and trying to solve one problem that most likely isn't just that problem, but a culmination of so many other frustrations. I have to go back to something my therapist said. Boundaries being for you means they are not reactionary. You can't punish someone for not knowing you even had a boundary around something to begin with, or set a new boundary in the moment as a way to establish control. Boundaries have to be a part of your core values, and whether they're rigid and unmoving or porous and flexible, they are stable and help you navigate life no matter the person or the situation. Now, the second video I want to talk about is from an Instagram page by Mrs. Maryam, Lemu, who is a relationship coach and motivational speaker. And I think it's best if I let you hear what she said directly and then come back and give my thoughts.
Allah is not impressed with you sacrificing yourself because of marriage. Allah does not want you to suffer in marriage. That is not why He prescribed marriage for us. It's not about suffering in silence or suffering openly. You have to make sure you value yourself enough to preserve yourself, because Allah wants you to be a good Muslim, to be a practicing Muslim who is healthy. So fight to make your marriage work until you've exhausted all options. Then do your istihara and ask Allah to guide you in making the right decision for you, for your children if you have any, and for the ummah at large. May Allah lighten your load and guide you to make the best decision.
The importance of being a strong woman is not synonymous with suffering, and that cannot be understated. We sometimes think the more we cook, clean, care for, and sacrifice for our families, the better wives, mothers, and women we are. And I love that she said fight. Fight for your family and fight for your marriage, but also fight to be a better Muslim. Going back to what Ramadan is all about, it's not just about food and indulging. It's actually less about that and more about getting closer to Allah. So if we spend the entire month groaning and mumbling about how annoying chores can be, are we reaching our full potential during this blessed month? To me, this is where boundaries come back into the picture. Carving out what your month will look like beforehand can really help reduce the stress and strain of day-to-day management. Personally, I have meal prep for the last 2 Ramadans, and I have seen so many social media videos of the girlies doing the same thing. And I see this as a form of boundary setting. You're still accomplishing the goal of nourishing your family, but not at the expense of daily struggles of what to prep and cook. It also gives you time back to worship and practice your deen in a way you wouldn't have the time to if you were standing over a hot stove from 5 p.m. to midnight or even beyond. And let's not even mention having to get up just a few hours later to prepare for suhoor. Mrs. Maryam Lemu articulates it beautifully. You don't get rewarded for suffering. And that's not to be confused with you don't get rewarded for providing labors of love. I think the distinction is you shouldn't harbor resentment around the labor. You shouldn't spend the entire time questioning why you're responsible for this and that and end up accumulating negativity in your heart as a result. And I would love to know what you guys think about this topic. It's been a while since I recorded an episode, and I really want to get back to it. I want to have more candid conversations about what we experience as women, as new moms, as seasoned moms, and create a space where we can help each other throughout the journey. I'm thinking about rebranding my Instagram and TikTok pages to highlight clips from the podcast and cultivate a community of women who sometimes just need to share an experience, whether it's through a recorded video or a Twitter post or a podcast episode. All in all, I think our experiences are so much more similar than we think, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the village around me. And when I hear other people share that they're going through the exact same thing that I am, and they feel the same way that I feel, it makes me feel so much better. I don't know if it's like a pity party, but I think we have so much in common, and I hope you guys will join me on that journey and give me ideas and feedback on how to make it more successful.